Hey there guys, how's it going? So you may have heard already, but JP was going to be shut down on April the 30th. Global was going to be shut down on May the 30th. Change plans. Apparently, it's now going to be now going to be shut down on June the 17th. So, I mean, as the game lived, it's going to be dying. Where we have miscommunications and changes at the final 11th hour, and um, we wouldn't have it any other way. So basically, what that means is that the finale, which presumably would have been coming out because JP and Global are caught up in terms of story now, it finally happened, but they are now going to be, the finale will now be split into two parts, and they haven't told us when that's going to be yet, but one would assume, potentially one of them in April, potentially one of them in May, before the actual shutdown of the game. So my previous guess would have been, okay, let's say like April the 22nd, because historically it's always been on the Thursday we get the update, and then lately it's been on the last Thursday of the month where we get the story update. So that logically would have said, okay, well maybe April 29th would be the final update. But again, remember that April 30th, the JP version was going to be completely shut down. So that would have given them 24 hours to play the final update and the Proud Mode version of the final update, say goodbye to their character, kick him out. But that's why I thought April 22nd is probably the most realistic date for the finale to be. Anyway, scrap all of that now because the finale, like I said, will be in two parts. Who knows when they're going to be. And the game shutdown itself will be in June 17th. So like I said, April 29th is the final Thursday of the month. That makes the most sense to me. And again, I'm sure they've already got some of the actual final update ready to go. So now they've got 2 weeks to basically make that part one of the finale. I'm guessing April 29th and then May 27th, which will be the two final Thursdays of the two final months. And then the final shutdown itself on June the 17th, probably for both versions at once. Again, that's my guess. I could be completely off. They could come out on June 16th and 17th for all I know, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense. I'm assuming the content will be out when it's ready. It's just the sort of thing where it's like, you have this management team that I think continually the entire way along has put these expectations on the developers while shrinking the team down. And I think yet again, they've reached a breaking point where they're like, okay, look, it's not going to be ready. It's just not going to be ready. We just put out the final update, so the previous update in the end of March, March, I don't know, 29th, whatever that was. And so now you're expecting the entire finale for both JP and Global, let's not forget, to be delivered to you, let's say on April 22nd. I guess it's just not possible. And it's a real shame, but I think the entire way along, the management team has basically put these too high expectations on the developers. I mean, we'll show you what happens if they don't. So they launched Dark Road, right? Dark Road comes out in, was it June 22nd of 2020? So that had its own development hell with, Corona and everything else, but the episode drops simultaneously with an hour difference for both Global and JP. Okay, cool. It's a lot of work, obviously, because it's, nearly half an hour of cutscenes, whatever, all these new assets, but okay, I guess they can do that now. And then immediately on the second update of Dark Road, Global was a week behind with no announcement from Global before it happened. And I think it's just the case of like they keep pushing themselves to the absolute final hour and then sending a word to the either they tell the management team ahead of time or the management team keeps pushing them until the final hour, going, no, you can do it. Okay, shit, they can't do it. All right, announcement with an hour to go. Okay, it's not going to happen. Like here, they give a 2-month warning. They give a warning on the end of February, I think it was, saying the game's going to be shut down. Here's a letter from the director, whatever. But what that effectively says is, okay, developers, you have 2 months to catch Global up completely, and from that point onwards, give Global and JP simultaneous updates, so get the scripts synchronized for both of them up, create all these new assets, create Darkness in its assets, create the true Dandelion in its assets, all these different, animations that need to be put in, the entire, animating of the cutscenes themselves, and writing the cutscenes themselves. I mean, obviously, maybe they have a writing team as well, but like the physically making of the cut, it doesn't just happen, like the last update had 20-something minutes of cutscenes in it. It was pretty, they're getting bigger and bigger all the time. And they've effectively been told with this hard line of the game will be shut down on April the 30th. Make all this crap for the, the last few updates, catch Global up, make the finale, and to make the offline version as well. Do all of this shit and have it ready to go in 2 months. And it's like, it's just not feasible. And it's just, like I said, the entire time the management team seems to have been fighting with developers. Like, I don't know, PvP, right? PvP is an example. It seems like every time they release a new medal, they release a better one slightly after it. And then, okay, you have PvP, it's another form of competition. And competition, historically, always drives the whales out, right? It always brings them out. So they create this medal, which, in a mode where you're going to be attacking a computerized version of another player, who then gets to attack you back, and you get to attack them back one more time. You take a turn, they take a turn, you take a turn back. You get to have a medal that will reflect one of their attributes completely right back at them. If they attack you, it will reflect all that damage right back at you, 100% of that damage. And it's like, I mean, this is not going to make any sense to people that weren't playing the game, but just anyone could have told you straight away that's such a terrible, terrible gameplay idea. And like, once you have that medal out there, you can never put that back in the box. Like, it's a broken mechanic that always will be broken from this point onwards. And it's like, Christ, there's. I'm sure the developers didn't make that decision. I'm sure that just, you know, the higher up managers are like, put this in, and they're like, okay, boss, and we're just gonna break our game for you, no worries. But I was saying about the Dark Road development. So Dark Road episode 2 is delayed in global a week, and I'm assuming it's because of time crunches. The compromise in episode 3 was like, okay, we'll get them both out at the same time, but we'll go from these typically animated cutscenes where our little dudes bob along and they have different facial expressions and they blink and they do all the rest. They walk around, they have various animations. And then in the middle of it, they cut to this, which is like, we had these in Kingdom Hearts Key because that's all they could do at the time, I think. It's like, how much cheaper is this to animate than a full-blown cutscene where it's like, you just have the sprites standing there and they'll fade from one pose into another. It's like, with text over the top. Oh, look, here's some new characters. Never have to animate them because we can just have the sprites. It's like, what happened? And the answer is time. They just ran out of time, you know what I mean? Like, they were expected to crank out. They were developing content and cutscenes and story updates for Dark Road and Union Cross simultaneously with this tiny team, and it's like, I mean, you know, obviously we want a good gaming experience, and it's not our fault for being disappointed, but it's like, Christ, man, these poor developers. So, yeah, I'm disappointed that the update's been delayed now. Like, don't get me wrong, I would much rather it be, in this hypothetical world, it comes out in, you know, in the next 2 weeks, the finale. It's a proper finale. It's fully realized. It's everything the developers ever wanted it to be. It's everything Mr. Nomura ever wanted it to be. But in this realistic world, you know, I've wondered before, like, how the hell are you going to get this done? They only have like 3 or 4 weeks to crank out this huge update, where in the past, they've barely been able to scrape like 2 new medals and a story update sometimes. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm disappointed, but it is what it is. I don't know. Union Cross has always been this deal with the devil where I think it's like, okay, Mr. Nomura, you can have your Kingdom Hearts 3 with its crazy, beautiful new engine and its, you know, this insane assets and this huge blown out budget. Oh, what's that? Scratch it. We're going to Unreal Engine. Scrap everything you've done. Boot up a new engine. And it's like, okay, you can have that, but we get a really easy, cheap as chips to develop gacha game that we can just squeeze money out of players. And I don't know. I mean, obviously I've been free to play this entire time. I just despise gacha games with a passion, but yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting to watch this entire time that they clearly want to keep development costs at just the barest minimum. And even now they're like, well, it's finally reached the point where the story's pretty much over, so we're going to set a deadline for you, wrap this shit up, make it offline only, and yeah, we're not going to be paying for it anymore, essentially, is the reasoning there. And, you know, I guess we're lucky in a sense that the developers are pushed back enough to say, like, look, we're gonna finish it off, we may as well do it properly. So, you know, give us another month and a half to get this shit done. And they're like, all right, you've got another month and a half, but that's the final extension. Dark Road, obviously I'm talking about Union Cross right now. As far as we know, Dark Road is still going to be coming out in late September, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if that gets delayed as well for its, you know, complete all the content that it's going to be dropped. Apparently, it's going to be happening in late September. Again, we don't know that for sure, but like I said, don't hold your breath that there are going to be some delays. Like I said, sorry, don't be surprised if there are going to be some delays to that date as well. But yeah, so for right now, Union Cross, now 1 episode split into 2. I'm assuming that means they're going to be big. I mean, it's the Miyamoto quote, right? It's like, the delayed game, sorry, the bad game is bad forever, but if you delay a game, it has a chance of being good. I mean, I'm really badly paraphrasing there, but you know what I mean. Hopefully the 2 parts that get split into are going to be good. Hopefully. And hopefully it's worth the wait. I mean, like I said, I would expect maybe April 29th and May 27th to be the 2 final end dates. But we don't know for sure. I guess when do you guys think they're going to be? Do you think we're going to get one in April at all? Like I said, I think this is another case of like they've been working their absolute asses off, but they're just not going to get the entire finale done. So we'll take half of what we've done so far, make that part 1 of the finale, and make, you know, the second half of it part 2. In which case, if they were again shooting for that April 22nd deadline, maybe April 29th is realistic for when we're going to see the first part of the finale. And then yeah, give them another month. Screw it. The game's going to end in June anyway, so I don't think it's not going to be like the start of May we get the second part of the finale. So screw it. I don't know. End of May might be realistically for the second. I mean, hopefully as soon as possible, but let's say May 27th for the second part. Who knows? I don't know. When do you guys think it's going to be? Yeah. I mean, again, like, you're within your rights to be disappointed, but try not to complain, because, I mean, what's the point? Like, they literally can't make any more money from this game. It's not about extending the delay to make more cash or anything. So, yeah, I don't know. On the plus side, I mean, the June 17th, that puts it, like, just over a month away from the World Ends With You 2, and so they're definitely connected, of course. That must be the reasoning. Of course, it must be the reasoning. I don't know, but... yeah, alright. I'm gonna go mod Megalovania into Melody of Memory. That sounds like a good use of my time. Alright guys, all the best. Take it easy. Bye.